Hello all, Editor GJ here. If you all are curious about my thoughts on why Takada is the best character of Haikyuu and why I am the co-president of the Protect Takada at All Costs, Takada is the number one sweetest boy, protect this bean bun at all costs squad, be sure to join our Patreon for my exclusive rant about Takada and just why I love him so much. I'm trying to put extra content for our Patreon only, so be sure to join. Thanks. Previously on We Care a Normal Amount About Things. GJ successfully kept up a bit that she started all the way in episode 1 and recapped the 3 episode story arc and realized that she had been screwing up the title of her own God Dog podcast the entire time. Can she ever successfully do her own video essay? Will she be consistent with the character names this time and not have to re-record the whole darn thing? Find out the answer on the upcoming episodes of We Care About Things, a Normal Amount. The actual title, BTW. Oops. So in the last episode, I revealed my theory about Haikyuu being a story about being a creative person. Now, when I say theory, I don't mean it in like the scientific way, but that I'm looking at Haikyuu through the lens of an artsy person. I write, I have a podcast slash video essay thing. I knit, I create. What I don't do is play sports because while I love watching sports analysis, I don't like actually doing sports because I turn into a giant swamp monster whenever I sweat. And honestly, jumping is not a fun sensation for me as a larger person. I teased a little bit about what made me start looking at Haikyuu this way. That fateful day of depression and mournfulness while I was healing up. Well, I guess I gotta explain the other episodes that I watched and the characters that I learned from. Episode 3. Sometimes love is enough. Today we are going to break down 3 different characters. Tadashi, Tsukishima, and Tsukishima's older brother, Ikitoru. I haven't actually talked a lot about any particular characters from Haikyuu. Frankly, there's other video essayists on YouTube who break down certain character arcs from the show. I'll put a few of them up on the screen and in the description. I really like their video, so be sure to give it a watch if you don't mind like spoilery stuff. So let's go over Tadashi and Suki right quick. Suki is player number 11, Tadashi is player number 12 on CrunchyRoll. They're both first years, and they have been friends for years and joined the team at the same time. Suki is stoic and arrogant. He spends a lot of his initial screen time just mocking / judging Hinata and Kageyama. He's often lax on practice and openly wonders why the others push themselves so hard for a quote-unquote high school club. That said, he is whip smart and is way more competitive than he lets on. Tadashi, on the other hand, is my precious baby boy, little bong bong ball of sunshine, and is the bestest boy. I love him. He is the only first year who is not part of the starting lineup. By the end of the first season, has only played in the sport one time, and it did not go well. He is also Suki's hype man / wingman. A lot of the times when they are together on screen, it's him joining Suki with cracking jokes on the other team members. Other times he is gushing about how cool Tsukishima is, about like his wingspan and how tall he is and how skilled he is at volleyball. Interestingly, that is the only time where Suki really turns his ire towards Tadashi. During the series, we actually don't see Tsukishima's brother all that often. We actually don't really know that he has a brother until later on through the season. Every now and then we catch glimpses of him and see him and Tsukishima talking about the club. We learn that he plays volleyball and he actually went to Krasno when he was in high school. Suki always seems a bit off with the Ketaru every time we see him. We don't understand why until we get a little bit of a flashback. We see a younger Tsukishima stare into a dark room where his brother is. And Aketeru is spiraling. His entire body is tense. He has tears running down his face. Midway season 2, Kurasuno goes to a training camp with some other local teams, and Shikishima gets accosted, I guess I could say, by two senior players from other teams. They call him out for his lackluster skills and warn him that he will soon be outpaced by other players if he does not try more and practice more. They don't do it in an antagonistic way, but in a camaraderie way. They're all there to go to nationals, and the only way that they're going to better themselves is by pushing one another. Shikishima blisters at this and storms out. He sees the other crows practicing and he wonders to himself, it's just a game. Why are they putting in so much effort? Don't they understand? It's not until the episode Illusionary Heroes where we get the full backstory and why Suki feels this way. Iketeru was the ace of his middle school volleyball team, and he was Suki's idol. He talks about how he can't wait to get to Kurasuno, this powerhouse school, and as he gets to Kurasuno, he talks about how hard the coach trains the team, and how he struggles to not fall behind the others. As time passes, he tells Suki that he preferred that Suki wouldn't go to any of the games because he'd be a distraction. One day, Suki is talking to Iketeru about what position he plays. Iketeru tells him that he's the wing spiker. Suki cheers because that means that his brother is the ace, and Iketeru kind of sheepishly agrees with him. One day in school, Suki is talking to Tadashi about volleyball and tells him that Iketeru is the ace on the Kurasuno team. Another student overhears and tells him that he's wrong because his brother is also on the team, but hasn't gotten any playing time so far in the season and hasn't even heard of Iketeru. Shikishima and the other kid goes to a game to prove him wrong, and we realize alongside with Shikishima that not only is his brother not the team ace, he's not even on the bench. The two brothers lock eyes across the gymnasium as they watch from the bleachers, both of them stunned and horrified to see the other one there. Suki compares it to watching a movie and watching your favorite character get cut down unceremoniously. While Tadashi tries to get the other kid to back off and leave Suki alone, Suki looks down and says, "That's so lame." A phrase that we've seen him say numerous times throughout the series beforehand. I think a lot of us have had a very similar moment where we learn the dark truth about our idols or about our dream careers. We grow up and we learn that being a lawyer sometimes means defending guilty criminals, or that your favorite writer is a vile abuser, that your favorite sport leaves behind a trail of broken bodies and minds. And that's not even getting into just how hard being successful or what success actually means in the real world. Nearly every day I would go on Twitter and I would see established writers whose careers I wanted and still want, and I see them talk about just how hard the publishing side of writing is. I see controversies of review bombing, or people talk about how hard it is to be a BIPOC writer, how hard it is to be a woman writer, and I look at my unfinished manuscripts. I think a lot about, is it even worth it? Is going through the pain worth it? Especially now when the world is in such turmoil. It's just a book. Why am I pushing myself so hard? So let me tell you about how I knew that this was going to be my brand new depression show. In 2021, there was a grant for marginalized writers. I'm not going to name the specific one, but I thought I had a shot at it. I had friends write letters of recommendations. I filled out the application about what I would do with the money if I was so chosen. And I sent it off with all my hopes and dreams around October 29th. I try not to get my hopes up, but that's a thing that's easier said than done. I had also decided weeks beforehand that I was going to do my third NaNoWriMo, which is was an event, where, where you would try to write a 50,000 word book in November. I figured this one would be easier than the last two that I did, since this time around I had more time because I wasn't working, an actual outline this time, so less stress for me. Oh, sweet summer child, that month was like 3 years long. The deadline for the grant was October 31st, And by November 3rd, they released their shortlist or possible winners. Dear listeners, I didn't even get a rejection email. I had to find out on Twitter that within a matter of days, I was not deemed worthy. The next day, I got my booster shot for my COVID vaccines, and despite the first 2 rounds of COVID shots going remarkably well and with very little side effects, this one knocked me on my butt for about 3 days. I was only a week into NaNoWriMo, which is about less than 7,000, 10,000 words at that point, and I hit the biggest slump in my entire creative life. I had been unemployed that past year because of COVID, and nothing I tried to do seemed to work. My neighbors at that time were constantly blaring music to the point I could hear it from the street outside my house, and even when I put on headphones, I could feel the vibrations in my chest as if they were downstairs, which did wonderful for my undiagnosed autism and sensory issues, and I had less than 3 weeks to write a book. So as I laid on my couch, recovering, tired, exhausted from 2 years in a global pandemic, I watched Haikyuu and found myself rewatching 2 episodes. The episode where the team recovers from their loss from the Abajosai match, and this, as I laid on the couch watching Hinata and Kageyama scream their hearts out through their grief, and Suki's nihilistic musings on how there is always someone better than you in the world, I sincerely thought about giving up my book. I hadn't decided, but I had really lost my steam and wondered what was even the point. It was only a couple of thousand words at that point. It's not like I had an actual editor waiting on the book or actual, stakes. What was the point of pushing myself? It was just the book. In my recap, I actually stopped about midway of the episode. After the flashback, we see Tadashi run up to Suki and ask him what is holding him back. Why isn't he trying when we know that he has competition in the sport, namely between Asahi and Hinata? Suki explains that even if he beats Hinata, what comes next? They become the best team in the prefecture, but what happens after that? They become the best team in all of Japan, but what after that? He screams in Tadashi's face, "There's always someone better than you. If there's always someone better than you, what's the point of trying? What makes you guys keep pushing?" In genuine confusion. During this fight, we get a flashback of the only time Tadashi actually got to play in a real match. He was a pinch server during the Abajosai match, and he missed the serve. Furious, he grabs Shikishima and yells in his face, "Don't be an idiot. It's our sense of pride. What more do you need?" And I just kept rewatching that scene. I couldn't figure out what compelled me to just keep rewatching that 2 minute scene. I doubt that it's 2 minutes, but what kept me watching that scene over and over again almost obsessively. And it finally clicked in my head. I wanted to keep writing for myself. And yeah, I know intellectually that you're supposed to make art for yourself and not for the world. But listen, after years of rejection, and after this particularly gnarly rejection, I had forgotten that. And by falling flat on my face, I had remembered it. Maybe I had actually finally learned it. I kept writing that year because it made me happy. It made me happy to make up these worlds and these characters and the hijinks that they go on. And Haikyuu taught me that. So despite everything that happened that month, and so much happened that month, everything happened that month. I finished my book, actual ending, and I finished it early. I think this is probably my best book so far. By the end of this particular story arc, when everybody goes home, Suki goes home and he runs into Iketeru. They talk about the camp, and they finally get around to talking about that fateful day. Iketeru reveals that he actually still plays volleyball with the local league. And he says that while he feels like he failed, he loved the sport too much to give up on it, and he wanted more of those great moments. of spiking a ball, of blocking a ball, of being part of a team. Have I ever played a team sport? No. Will I ever play a team sport? Not anything past just goofing off with my friends. But God, I understand that feeling. That rush of creativity and the joy of collaboration. I'm not gonna lie to you. Being a creative person hurts every now and then. Every time I've read the book, I have basically a breakdown midway and think of quitting and wondering why the people I love have yet to stop me from doing this to myself. My mother has told me that living that living with me while trying to write a book is not the greatest experience. In every episode that I make of this, I have at least 3 moments where I think to myself, oh God, how ridiculous is this? Why am I so bad at this? Why do I hate the sound of my voice so much? Dear God, I cannot express to all of you how much I hate the sound of my voice. And I have to do this, listen to my voice, at least 3 times during this. I have to listen to my voice while I stumble over all of my words. I have to listen to it again while I edit it and wonder why on earth do people listen to me. And then I have to do it again when I make the video. Oh yeah, and the transcript. So like, at minimum, 4 times. I hate it. I hate it so much. Oh my God, why do people do this? There's people out there in the world who legitimately like the sound of their own voice. Why are they like that? And despite that mini rant, I'm legitimately having fun while I do this. I sit here in my room currently, awkwardly ranting to no one, just as I will sit in my room cringing at the sound of my voice as I edit this, just like I will sit in my room. I should probably do this in more areas. Just like I will sit in my house and edit the video and the transcript. And I'm not doing this because I expect this to blow up and be my career. I wouldn't mind it. If you would like to become a patron, the link will be in the description. Money is nice. I need dental work done, but I'm not doing it for dental work. I'm doing this because I'm legitimately having fun. I would have sold out ages ago if I was doing it just for the money. I do it because I have fun and I like coming up with new things to tell you guys about. 2 quotes in Haikyuu that will probably be my guiding light as I do this. One comes from Sugar Water with I don't play volleyball for merit. And the other one comes from a character from season 3. Isn't what drives most people childish in general? Money doesn't drive me. Money is dumb. Money is might as well be pixie dust. Sure, the world runs on it, but it's not real. And if me and my sister ever decide to stop doing this whole thing, it's not because we failed at it, because as we learned from last episode, losing or quitting isn't failure. I know how much of this sounds kind of like after school special slash it was the friends we made along the way slash the real magic was inside you all along. There is no special ingredient. But legitimately, this show has changed my life as a creative person, and I am remarkably thankful for it. I did it! I'm finished! The end. I did it! I finished it! Yes! So, these are only just some of my thoughts about Haikyuu. I have so many more thoughts. It's almost like I care about things a normal amount. But I really want you all to experience this story yourself. I have recommendations for video essays in the description. But I hope you go out and watch it and come back for the next episode of this. It will either be an episode from AB about Cinderella or The Mirror Has Two Faces, and then we have a joint episode on Fillmore coming up next. And I hope you enjoy. And with that, our daring video essayist departs on her way to another thing to care a normal amount about, all the while whining about how annoying editing is and how hard research is for her next video. Little does she know, she's gotta carry that weight. Too far. I'm sorry if I triggered any Cowboy Bebop fans with that. Bye. Oh, and Mom just walked into the house. Boom, I'm done.